Shouting out probably Sasha, who asked me to do the Makoto storyline in the first place because I've forgotten to do that for 40 episodes now. But hey, at least we're getting to rank 10, so that means that it's like this is the perfect time to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. See,
right?
Makes sense to me. Makoto is the social link. We got Aiko. We got Tsukasa.
We got several different characters who are not Makoto.
Yeah,
It's always been kind of an interesting thing that we've been pretty much experiencing this through Makoto's eyes, through main character's eyes, which, I mean, otherwise it's largely a similar sort of style, like, with Tsukasa being the bad guy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
As a lot of the other social links, it's just, we just get 2 points removed here. It's really Aiko's storyline is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. But I think what we're really trying to do with this episode, now that that's out of the way, and we're still doing this social link, but...
well, I mean, I'm sure people could probably guess from the actual title of the episode. But yeah, that's right. It's the Theorycraft cast.
Yeah, the Theorycraft craft. It's something,
Are we going to call it the Theorycast craft or the Theorycraft cast?
I don't know if it's even... Does Theorycraft apply when we're not doing, when we're just doing lore? Because we're just...
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, this is more like speculation cast. Whatever, we'll call it the Persona 5 the Theorycraft. And this is where we're going to start to go back and finally take a look at where we're expecting this stupid plot line to go as we continue to do a ton of social links and other mementos. It's going to be mementos this episode. I'll spoil that one right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christopher Nolan directed.
Yes, of course. So we got... Wait, did he direct that one?
Yes,
yeah, I guess he did, didn't he?
Yeah, it actually...
Well, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, Memento, yes, was directed by him, but Mementos also refers to a pack of multiple Christopher Nolan movies.
Really?
It's the plural noun. It's like the demonym or something. It's like if you've got a Pride of Lions or a Murder.
Does he have a Mementos verse of movies?
No, it's just it's just a weird plural noun. Everything else is normal.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. It's just how they did that for Unbreakable and Glass and stuff like that.
Oh, what is that? Is that called the Unbreakable verse or the Shyamalan verse?
I have no idea. M. Night Shyamalan, though, comboed a bunch of his stuff together into a greater universe. I heard it was not very good, though.
I liked the second one. I haven't seen the third one yet. By the way, Unbreakable is a really good movie, though. That is just a legit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, but the sequel wasn't really a sequel. It was kind of a weird, separate movie that they tied in.
Was there actually an Unbreakable 2? Or are you talking about Glass?
I'm talking about it was called, I think, Split. Was the second one.
Oh, yeah. Split was not supposed to... That was also supposed to be something... It was doing this weird Marvel movie type of thing where it's you set them up separately and then combo them together.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
At least that's from what I understand what they were trying to go at. Did it work? I don't think so. From what I've heard of people talking about that. Anyway, the point is, Security is a great superhero. I'm a big fan of him. We were talking about something else.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do is just figure out, where are the various threads in the plot going? Where are the characters going? What would be, let's be honest, what would be a satisfying ending to this? And what is actually going to happen? What is going to be completely, when this game completely disappoints us, like it inevitably will? What is going to happen?
And inevitably.
Well, I suppose there's a possibility, but we don't want to hope in this series. We've tried that. We've tried that already.
I've been burned too many times. I can't. You've destroyed my trust, Persona 5. But yeah, there are basically, I would say, 3 different threads that we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. One is just kind of the overall main plot line, which is Shido killing people in order to form his own political party and, I guess, take over Japan, turn it into a dictatorship or something?
Yeah, we were kind of looking up the structure of the Japanese government. I'm not sure if it would actually be they're an actual dictatorial reactionary revolution kind of thing. It's hard to tell, but they are definitely I believe they're beginning the process of dissolving the government in a formal way. There's a transition of power happening for sure. And
I would like to poo-poo on the whole storyline, but let's be honest here. I don't know enough about the Japanese government to even tell if this is just... This is not only possible, but something that can happen.
Yeah, my understanding is
that
they dissolve the government. It's a parliamentary system, so they'll sometimes dissolve the government and start a new one. But we don't expect Shido to be a good leader. We're not expecting him to be.
No,
Like,
he's done. God, he's done nothing for the entire plot line except for, just be evil, basically. I mean, there's nothing that says to me that it's like we're going to suddenly get, like he has some sort of grand plan for uniting Japan against the alien invasion or something like that, and that's why he was doing this in the first place. Like, I just do not expect that, basically. But, as it is, whatever. The major gripe that I have with that storyline, I think, is the fact that it does seem to be because he's using the Phantom Thieves as the reasoning for his entirely new third party that he's introducing into the the government.
Yeah. Kind of
which is absurd. Come on. Once again, apparently there's nothing bad going on in Japan, so we have to manufacture our own crises.
Well, it would be realistic if, like, there were more bodies associated with the Phantom Thieves. Like, if the Phantom Thieves,
apparently there are, though. Remember, we saw that in the last episode, where it's just like, there have been additional murders committed under the Phantom Thieves' name that we saw in one of those, like, crowd chatter moments.
Right. No, and that is true. It's not, like, 1 or 2 or 3 people at this point. It could be like 7 or 8, 10 people, maybe a lot more people. But the thing that's unrealistic is up until this point, that did not make any sense. It was like 1 or 2 people, like, that anyone would have ever heard of, like Kamashita.
And prior to this point, it's like I think that everybody was pretty sure that the Phantom Thieves were, in fact, I mean, even if they didn't really know what their motivations were, they did not seem to be doing anything bad.
Yeah, and to be honest, just the way public relations, or the way public opinion works, it would be really surprising to me if people could actually disentangle Medjed and the Phantom Thieves as entities. Like, they're probably pretty much tied up. Like, people know that Goro's against them, but, like, they probably don't have a pretty strong opinion of who the Phantom Thieves are versus anyone else. I mean, I know they're
the Phantom Thieves don't have any public presence or anything. It's like people only know them through the cards which are wildly different each time.
Well, they know them through the merchandise. They quote unquote know them through the merchandise and the website, which is very, like, they're not controlling their image well. So what people think about
yeah. I mean, apparently Mishima's doing a great job, but it's hard to say. It all comes down to the fact that the Phantom Thieves are the most important people in the entire world yet again, and that's why it's like, so, having Shido being opposed to them is just, of course that's what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Basically, that's the one plot thread that it's just like, I think that we have to just be like, well, that's what they're doing. I guess it could be worse, but it's not going to be great. Yeah. Plot thread number 2, Morgana's past. So Morgana still has we've kind of completed Morgana as like a, character plot line, but not actually if he's ever going to regain his memory or what his whole deal is as of just yet. Mm-hmm. It's like he is the obvious things would be that he was always a shadow, and that it's just like he just gained sentience and, thinks he's a human. Mm-hmm. Probably not. They've already done that before in a previous game, and I really don't think they're going to do the exact same thing again. Yeah. 2, he was working with Shido the entire time, and then where he's going to have to come down with the fact that it's like he has been, at least in his past life, a villain, and is now trying to atone for it, maybe in a way where he purposely lost his own memory and became a cat. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's maybe... Once again, I don't really have much. I don't really have too much faith that they're going to make one of the main characters villainous in any way. Well, they did just have Makoto slap that girl. I mean, that is true. I mean, she's ultimately doing it in the service of, getting her to confront the abuse that she's facing from Tsukasa. But still, it was you did just kind of assault her in a public place. Like, that's once again, it's just like, it's not a bad plot line, I think. But, at the same time, it's like it is being told entirely through a separate person. Uh-huh. It's this weird combination of, like, these are obviously self-contained characters. Whoops, missed one. That don't matter at all. And we're supposed to care a whole lot of them. Like, one of them appears to be Haru's fiance wearing a wig, for example. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. Anyway, third possibility, and maybe the one that I would probably put the most money on, is that we're gonna find out Morgana was like Wakaba, Futaba's mother. He was her assistant or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And during like experimentation with cognitive science, got sucked into the metaverse, and then
Yeah.
probably the least interesting of the three possibilities, but I think
It's a
probably
possibility.
the most likely, because that means that it doesn't have any ties with the villains, but that also means that it ties him in more with
It's a
characters
kind of-
that already exist.
It's kind of the classic like Leia is Luke's sister twist, where spoiled, but like we already spoiled like that the movie Take It Split, so so I don't know.
I always thought that was sort of like the Avengers initiative at the end of Iron Man.
Yeah.
where it didn't really have too much to do with the plot.
Well, yeah, and like this whole thing where it's like making Luke Leia's sister, that did, or vice versa, like making that didn't really change anything in the plot. It made it weird that they kissed, but it didn't really change anything fundamental. Like, now Morgana has been presumably ogling Futaba a couple times, right? That's gonna make that weird, but it's not really gonna change.
No, that's not true at all.
Okay.
Morgana only has eyes for one person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's main character.
Oh,
Also Anne.
yeah. But like, Morgana being like that assistant or something like that wouldn't really affect anything. It wouldn't really change anything. It allowed them to be self-consistent without really, having to change anything in the backstory.
Without adding much new to the plot line, which is why I think that's probably the most likely to happen.
That makes sense.
What do you think? You think there's any possibility that we might see? Do you think there's even like another possibility there? Because those are the only ones that I can think of right now.
I don't really. It's hard to think of too many people that Morgana could be. I think the some dumb assistant thing or somebody like that, where, like, to be clear, we're just talking about anyone who could be like in that distant past that has like, oh, you're actually Ryuji's long lost uncle or something. Something where, and you were studying cognitive science the whole time, kind of thing. Just something that would give you
It seemed like Wakaba was the only person studying cognitive science, at least until like
that's true.
Even like Maruki was getting basically like laughed out of school because he was trying to look into it.
Yeah. Or you could have something similar where it's just like, oh, he was like a separate researcher and, it had something to do with Wakaba. But
maybe he worked with Sakura because he was apparently like the government liaison between Wakaba.
Well,
Maybe he was like the one who came after Sakura.
yeah.
And then it's like when she... Well, actually...
Dual shock before disconnected
I
charge
forgot.
battery.
I had to cut out like 2 minutes there.
Okay.
That was annoying.
Yeah, gotta get that battery. It'd be funny if you had to run out and get a battery.
No, it's Corge. It has internal batteries like everything does these days.
Okay.
Nothing runs off of like AAAs anymore.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
But
but-
yeah, it's like something like that. I don't know.
I could see something where, okay, if they really wanted to go weird, they could make Morgana like 2,000 years old or something. Like, going back to the beginning of, like an Egyptian cat or something.
Yeah, he's like some sort of he's like some sort of dark god who just happened to like manifest when. I mean, I still think that it's just like, Shido obviously has access to the metaverse. Maybe he's got access through his own, like, some sort of entity from the metaverse that gave him these powers. Because one of the things that we found out was that it's like, Morgana did say that it's like, palaces are a new thing. Like, usually it just used to be mementos, and that was it. So it's just like maybe trying to get Shido to do his whole thing is like causing an imbalance and causing like the metaverse's influence to spread, and then like Morgana is somebody opposed to that, and he's trying to stop it, but he's also like pretty bad at whatever he's doing because he lost his memory.
Yeah.
Then again, we do have Igor, who kind of already fulfills that role in the game.
And Morgana could be like working with Shido in some, or again, like some kind of past life. Maybe the existence of Shido, brought, or maybe just the sinfulness of modern Japan or something like that brought Morgana into existence and just put him into a cat or something. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like the whole, like, was always a shadow thing. But I mean, I think that it's like the fact that we saw him be, like Shadow Morgana be incarnated at the core of Mementos, maybe it's just like when Morgana did that to himself over guilt about giving Shido his powers in the first place.
By the way, who are we talking to right now?
Oh, that's Kaoru, who is Iwai's adopted son.
Oh, okay, the son. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we're just chatting with him.
We're just gonna show how he's good all along.
He was never a bad person.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, just to hammer it home, like that's how all the social.
Oh yeah. We're learning all about how Iwai is super virtuous.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like I think that could be interesting. It's like but then again, it's just like I just don't see them having a main character actually do something questionable. It's the same sort of thing with the Black Mask guy being Goro, because it's like that would mean that Goro has murdered many people.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I don't see the storyline.
So the Black Mask person we think it almost has to be like either a girl because it's a girl, like so it's. I don't know, Sai or something, or Makoto or something.
We heard that the police commissioner guy really early on in the game was considering taking Sai into the organization, but apparently decided against it because now she's supposed to be set up to be assassinated.
Oh, right. Okay, so so it almost has to be not Goro or Shido, and it doesn't seem like it's possible for it to be Goro. Just the way that they write characters.
It's probably just Shido himself. Yeah.
Now,
because it's like I don't see this game. Maybe it might be Haru's fiance, but
Now, I do want to I guess qualify this because as much as we are incredibly pessimistic, about this game and its writing, obviously, like you're at episode 94, you probably already know that. I do want to point out they seem to be spending a lot of time. They actually put some time into making Goro a decent character. Like, so that tells me.
Yeah, speaking of which,
Goro.
Why don't we move right into Theory 3? Well, the Theory 3. Why don't we move right into speculation topic number 3?
Speculations.
What is going to happen after? What's up with the whole Nijima plot like going on right now? Because we have this whole thing where it's like, all right, so somebody betrays the team.
Mm-hmm.
The main character has been sitting in a palace for 6 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not what's actually happening, but you know what I mean. It's like, where are we going with that? Because my ideas would be, one, it's all been planned the entire time. It was all just, we saw that whole thing where it's like main character was meeting up with Morgana after they talked to Goro for the first time. Main character was also meeting up with Futaba and Morgana, and they're like, yeah, we got this plan, wink, wink, wink. And then we saw Futaba take Goro's phone. We saw Futaba give him the Taro Tanaka card. It's just like it feels like we're setting it up for like Goro is gonna betray us, but don't worry, it was all planned the entire time, and the characters are about to go break main character out of there right now.
And you were kind of talking about it being like a plot. We've seen kind of a hint that it might be a plot between Goro, the main character, Futaba, and Morgana. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the real question. I mean, well, here's the thing. That might not be what it is at all. Who knows? But like my idea is, I think the real question here is Goro in on it? Is Goro actually going to try and betray them? And like, does he think that he's actually betraying them, or is he part of the plot?
What would be interesting now for like good writing, and I don't expect this, but like you could have something where Goro betrays them thinking it's part of the plot, but something has changed and turns out that he ends up just actually betraying them. Like, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. It's like, even if they get out of Nijima's palace and everything totally fine, that we are just gonna, like, Goro's still there.
Yeah, like
he's still doing stuff, and he's now worked with the Phantom Thieves and knows exactly how their whole deal is and who they all are and where they meet and what they do and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I mean, there's also scenes like this.
And yeah, this is kind of like, this is your wheelhouse here. You better get this one right, or this project is completely a waste.
Like, I know what whatever. Yeah. It's hard to get a read on them. But I mean, Goro's also already been pretty. I mean, that's the whole thing. It might not even be Goro the entire time. There is the possibility of that, because I do think that, well, originally we thought it might have been Morgana, because, Morgana has always been pretty suspicious in every way. It's just, at this point in time, as we found out, Morgana is not really so much secretive and mysterious as he just doesn't fucking know anything.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad.
He just wants to pretend like he does because he's got a very big ego.
Yeah, which is actually kind of endearing.
Oh yeah, no, I like that. It's too bad that, at this point in time, he's just totally dedicated to the main character and like nothing
And we
else.
should point out, in your words, like, whereas most of these characters are assimilated into the Phantom Thieves and don't really have much character left. Makoto had this nice social link, whatever. It wasn't that great, but it was something.
All the characters have their own social link, but it's just like...
but like, for the most part, like, within the party, in terms of the actual main plot, they're basically just assimilated and don't have really any will of their own. Haru is obviously just a non-entity, but also Yusuke...
Haru and Yusuke, all very much like non-entities.
Yeah, and
Ryuji actually is totally into it. He loves it.
Well, Ryuji is into it, but he's also not like making decisions really. Like, for the most part.
It's like he does not take a leadership role, and he's okay with that.
Yeah.
Once again, a very endearing trait, but it's also like he's and Morgana there. It's just like has just stopped even vying for leadership here because he knows that he's not going to be able to beat the main character.
Yeah. So in terms of
or go out on his own
characters that
and Sakura has been now like subsumed into there too.
Yeah. And of course, like
Futaba is no longer the ruler of the hacking empire of Medjed, but now just another one of the pawns.
Yeah, remember
Medjed
schemes? Wasn't that a great plot line? It made a lot of sense.
It's still terrible, but
Yeah, but like,
it's like
Mishima is unfortunately completely loyal to these people who don't respect him, who don't understand him,
or even like him that much.
Yeah, but they tolerate him, and I guess that's all he's fine with that. But so Makoto.
Yeah, I mean, there's a question. Is that gonna happen to Goro though? I mean, after we're done with this plot line, is he like after especially like seeing everything the main character went through? Is he gonna be like, oh, rending my garments and wailing in agony? I will now do everything that you guys want from me.
I don't think so in his way, because like as hacky as the writers are, like Goro feels like the written equivalent of like a really random character in a TV show who looks really good, and you're like, oh, I think that's probably going to be important. And they're probably like not just there randomly, like they're probably a guest actor and maybe a new main character. That's the kind of vibe I get with Goro. Like he's clearly like they're setting him up to be a central character. They went all out with Goro.
that was something we also talked about before the series. Well, before the episode here. Too, where it's just like, man, what if the main character just died? Because all they need to do is just take the treasure out of the palace, and as we've seen, it pretty fantastically destroys itself at that point in time. So it's like, and then we just have Goro as the main character instead.
Yeah, Goro kind of by default. Just like there's...
But it's like, we can't do that. That's not happen.
Yeah, also...
It'd be fun. But it's not going to happen. And then the other person that we thought could be it is Makoto, because she's always been very unsure about, actually attacking somebody in such close relationship with her,
like
her own sister.
And I thought Sai was her mother, but no, sorry.
Whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, clearly, like, Makoto has a chance of being a central character just because, kind of again by default, because of her connection with Sai. And Sai is like, so it's really like there's only a few characters that have enough character to really even be considered at this point, which is kind of of an indictment.
And it's like, I think we can just strike off like Ryuji, we can strike off Morgana. Mishima just doesn't have access to the metaverse, although he might be able to tell Sai and Najima in real life, and then her cognition changes, which is I think probably what Makoto would do if anything.
Yeah.
But if there is one person It could also, I mean, it could also just be like the Black Mask character. He has like, he or she has seemingly superpowers to go into palaces and do whatever he wants. He was in Okamura's when it exploded.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Yeah, but
It's like he doesn't have to play by the rules. He could easily just go tell them if they already know who the Phantom Thieves are.
Yeah.
But it's just like also. They explicitly said that one of your friends betrayed.
Yeah, and I
so
feel
it's
like
it has to be.
the thing with the betrayal thing is we know, like, why would somebody lie about that? But like maybe it was something where like Goro just joined us, like let's say 2 weeks ago or something. It was less than 2 weeks ago where immediately taking the palace on his orders. Is it really betraying? If he
that too, where it's just like Goro is already extremely antagonistic even as an ally.
Like even like as like a social link, even as
He tried to shoot us in the last episode.
Even as your best friend, he's pretty freaking like adversarial. Like he's specifically right. We fought him, right? So
yeah, I mean it's very similar to bringing up Omicron again. Remember how there was the one really aggressive guy, and then there was Namtar, aka Ratman, backwards in the Awakened base.
Uh-huh.
It's like it almost seems like it would be too obvious for it to be Goro.
Yeah. And I mean,
but of course that's why I think that it's like it might just be a plan
like
the
a
entire
double
time, which
twist
is not terrible.
Yeah, and it's like
It's not the
it
worst.
would be interesting if Goro forced you into this and then betrayed you only to betray the people he was betraying you to in order to save you, and it was the only way he could do that. I mean, it's kind of hackney, but it's not terrible. Like the only thing missing is
could be worse.
more than one character who has agency, which apparently is impossible in a game like this.
I mean, that's a thing though, where it's just like one of the reasons why I'm almost doubting the whole like it was a plan the entire time is because that would require the main characters to actually do something.
No, and it would contradict everything we've seen so far, because really, like, when have they done any planning up to this point?
Now.
It's like usually they just wait for other people to tell them what to do.
Yeah. And it would actually be way out of character. Well, it would be interesting if they told it as something where they're like, you know what, we've been waiting too long for this.
To Chance the Gardener type of thing, basically.
Yeah, that's a reference. Have you seen that?
No, I've read the story. We actually referenced that like 50 episodes ago, which of course is one of those things that I remember.
I love being there. It's a great movie. But
I only know that. I only know the short story. Was it a short story?
it might have been a novel.
It's been years.
Okay, but yeah,
I love the idea that it's just like famous, infamous, whatever. Doesn't matter for mementos.
Well, all press is good press.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's one of those old phrases that I feel like I just see for more examples against it than for it.
Yeah, it's like if you have to say that, it's like, well, what about Notorious?
Yeah. Many examples.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a whole host of Mementos guys here, including that one like assassin dude, which by the way is the homeless guy that we've seen in several other parts before this, right? Where it's like he would always have something interesting to say on the main plot line and everything, and even like was a guy that sort of pointed us towards Kaneshiro in the first place. It's weird that he has more character than most of the main characters.
This Shadow Sakota you're talking about?
No. We'll see him soon enough.
Okay.
Shadow Sakota is just, well, I mean, he's Black Frost, the more powerful version of Jack Frost, who we fought previously as
I remember that, yeah. Somehow.
The mascot character. But he's just like the big brother to the mascot character.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I do remember Jack Frost because I'm like, that's an interesting name for. That's an interesting character.
He's the mascot character for Atlas.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, this is like the Raichu version of him.
Okay. And by the way, we're just going after his cool Bully, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of. He's also blackmailing people because this is Persona 5.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
If you didn't get that.
Yeah. I didn't. I should have guessed that. And it's weird how many of the the evil plots and good plots are just blackmail plots. Like, it's just even like the
Extortion is the way Persona 5.
yeah, like everyone in this room, everyone currently here has blackmailed to get into the party originally, except for the main character, except for maybe Morgana. Morgana just showed up.
Yeah, Morgana was.
That's their second
Morgana
type of
was
plot.
more of a truce of convenience rather than like if he had the ability to extort them, he definitely would.
Yeah, and that's
that.
the other form of plot is just arbitrarily show up. That's this two plots: blackmail and arbitrarily show up.
Haru, well, I guess yeah, Yusuke. Yusuke did arbitrarily show up in the first place, but then it's like when he actually got into the palace, that was because there was at least a little bit more there.
Sorry.
Well, in fairness, it's not so much
Ryuji just was there.
It's not just arbitrarily show up. It's also the universe bends to force you to be with this other person. Like Ryuji,
Futaba.
Futaba, Haru.
Well, Futaba was also an extortion plot at the same time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, definitely. That's right.
Oh my god. Well, anyway, that's that's Persona 5 for you. So yeah, I mean that's a point of that. Here, let's go right back into it. That's point of speculation, part 4. Where is it gonna go after this point? Like I guess we're gonna fight Shido, but like, is fighting Sai is not going to convince people that we didn't execute Ray Kroc live on television.
Yeah, and we did that. And it's important to remember that we did execute Ray Kroc live on television.
As well as apparently like 10 other people, according to that one, scene transition scene.
Yeah, I like that they just kind of like left that just as a random detail when they will just go out of their way to just talk about this artist coming to the city.
Or they'll go out of their way to talk about how, like, what sort of trains they need to take to be able to get to the place that they're going to right now.
Yeah, like, let's go to that one artist's one exhibition, and then it turns out like 30 people maybe showed up too. But like, yeah, let's talk about that. That's the most important thing in Tokyo, probably the world's biggest city, like the biggest metro area in the world, and it's like
one of the biggest metro areas in the entire world. Yeah, that place is gigantic.
I mean, there's more people.
But it's like,
I think there's more people in the Tokyo metro area than in Canada. I think that might be wrong.
But it's
close.
Well, yeah, I mean, Japan's not a very large country, but it does have like 100 million people living.
Yeah,
in it.
It's about the size of California, and it's so just for perspective,
tighter packed.
Like, if you just imagine all of Canada was like, oh, there's an artist exhibition over in Calgary, and like, oh wow, that's all we talk about for 2 weeks. Which
yep, there he is. You remember that guy? It's like he's been hanging out in the Shibuya Square. It's so weird that he's gotten so like I want a social link with this guy, and then it turns out he's like a war veteran mercenary assassin.
Yeah.
Like, what a character development here. For just like totally throwaway stuff. I mean, it's that sort of stuff, and it's like, yeah, what we were just talking about, where apparently like there have been several other murders committed in the Phantom Thief's name. Just kind of, that's an unimportant point.
So like, this is a serial killer who pretends to be homeless.
No, he is actually homeless.
He's actually homeless.
Yeah, it's like basically he doesn't even realize that he is an assassin.
Because it's all within his evil persona heart, with the mementos.
But not even that. But I mean, apparently he does in fact kill people.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's just like it's like a sort of like day night like flip deal. I guess is what they were getting at.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty compelling, and it's like same with
and it's like he had been helping us out with previous plot lines and everything. It's just kind of like a dude we would talk to occasionally. Not even necessary to, but he was just there.
Yeah, it's weird that we just like interchange. Like, okay, so the big villain of the third arc was Nadarame, I believe. Or maybe
big villain of the third arc was Kaneshiro. Big villain of the second arc was Madarame.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow. Anyway, so Madarame.
Yeah, I know Kaneshiro is just that guy just came and went, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely blends together. Well, it took like probably 20 episodes to get through it, but it was like because we had to figure out his name and stuff. But that's
that was. Yeah, remember he was very secretive.
But like,
and then whatever.
But whatever, yeah. Like, so Madarame was the second villain and stuff, and just like, okay, this artist abusing one person, and being like a jerk to his mom or you know what I mean? Like not, and then it's like
being a jerk, letting her die.
Yeah. Well,
same thing.
Well, we would have all done no, but like okay, so just randomly we go out and we just change the heart of a hospital director, and that's just a nothing burger that goes nowhere, and it's like it's like that's a lot more important. And you could have a confession be a lot larger than that. You know what I mean? Like, than a famous artist.
Yep.
It's like, okay. Like.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just like, we find like this underground assassin as opposed to Kaneshiro.
Yeah, no, and it's like, okay, like, I have to say they're about equal. Like this, but it's like that Kaneshiro was just exploiting high school students, right? This guy is killing people. Like many people, possibly as many as the.
He's a Phantom Thief level of.
Assassin. He's like an arch villain of the city of Tokyo. Again, like and
again, he's appeared in previous plot lines and everything. There was more build up to him than there was to like Medjet.
And it's like it is realistic because I believe the murder rate in Tokyo is very, very low, and so like killing 10 people wouldn't just be that's the worst thing that happened this week. That would have been like, that's the worst thing that's happened all year. And it makes sense that something like the Phantom Thieves, if they had a good media apparatus, could be important. But then why is it so unimportant that this serial killer, like just taking him down is just a side quest? You know what I mean? Like there's no sense of scale. Like, why isn't he...
He's not even a serial killer. He's an assassin for hire, basically.
Yeah, and why isn't taking him down as big a story, or even just comparable to what the Phantom Thieves are doing? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't that, like, something that a politician can run on? And, I mean, I'm being a little bit, like, you can forgive some things. You have to be a little bit charitable with the breeding. But it's like, that's just a good example of just, they don't have any sense of scale with these plots.
Oh, yeah, by the way, here's the other shadow that we're fighting, a guy who's cheating at video games.
That bastard. That's actually...
That bastard.
Like... that's like the... that's like that Simpsons where they go to France, and it's like... He's like, oh, yeah, they're torturing me. They make me work. They make me labor, and I'm a child. I don't speak any English. I shouldn't even... Or I don't speak any French. I shouldn't be in the country. And they put antifreeze in the wine. And then the guy says... Antifreeze in the wine? That is a very serious crime.
Yeah. And it's like, here's where we're at. Guy who cheats at video games after the serial mercenary assassin.
And then, of course, he's like, BDSM cheetah. Or I guess just, I don't know.
He's Ose. We are, I never put Ose as the thumbnail. I guess we'll have to do that for this episode.
Chester.
For the Theorycraft episode. Oh yeah, speaking of which, where do you think we are actually going to go after this plot line? Because I don't know.
I
mean, like I said, it's like, I guess it's going to be back to normal because that's just what happens.
It would be really weird if we went back to normal after the Sinojima plot. That would completely mess up like the frame story, for example. Like we don't.
Yeah, we still have like one more what am I trying to think of?
One more palace, one more
social link to unlock. So what is going to happen when we get? Are we going to like go backwards in time?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Like, presumably we're going to go after like either Shido or Goro, depending on how they resolve the sixth one. Like that's good.
It's probably, yeah, because Endgame might be Shido, and then the next palace might be Goro,
or vice versa, or something. Yeah.
But I mean, wait, no, it can't be. That can't be true because if you have a persona, you don't have palace.
Okay, so it can't be. So literally, it can't be Goro. He can't have a palace. Right. At least with the rules that we've established right now. Okay.
Yeah, and if Shido is the Black Mask guy, I guess we don't know if he actually has a persona or not. He just has a gun.
No,
that's all we know.
It could be that they have some weird thing where someone is able to have a palace and a persona, like Shido. Or Goro, that would make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like we have been explicitly. Of course, that's something they just said it like once. So,
But so
who knows exactly what that's going to be? 242 hours.
But either way, I think we're nearing the end here. We're just about to the frame story, right? We're at 11:11, and.
Yeah, it's 11. It's either 11:19 or 11:20 that the framing story is taking place at, and it's just like I don't know though, man. I just look at it and I'm like, I mean, obviously, it's like, yeah, Goro's going to decide that he's not going to force the Phantom Thieves to end after this, but what are we going to do from there?
Yeah.
Is it just going to be like main character suddenly remembers? It's like, oh, yeah, it was Shido, and then we just go after Shido?
Yeah.
Is it going to be some other contrived bullshit?
And it's weird that we haven't had as much direct contact with Shido. I think we met him one time at that hotel after Kamoshida's palace, and I don't think we may have run into him like once more since then. I don't think it's more than that.
We've seen him on television.
Yeah, of course.
That's about it.
Yeah, but that's somebody on television, and of course he's been denouncing the Phantom Thieves. But like that isn't really contact. That's somebody going on TV and talking about us, which is something Goro's done too. So really minor.
Goro's now a main character.
Yeah.
It's like I just see it as like where we're gonna go from this point is it's just gonna be something dumb. I can't even come up with like, hey, what's the alternative that I'd like to see? I just look at it like, nah, it's just gonna be like main character suddenly remembers who he is.
Yeah. Or Morgana,
Right.
or Morgana suddenly remembers. I can see that. You know, they've got a lot of convenient ways to get to
Black Mask Guy. Maybe Black Mask Guy finally comes in and actually confronts them
Reveals
in
himself,
person.
yeah.
Maybe they actually meet up with him as he's trying to assassinate Sai.
Well,
that would be kind of interesting.
One thing is for certain, though, it won't be something that any of the Phantom Thieves other than possibly Goro is going to be involved in because they don't do anything. They don't do it.
Goro does things, but he might not after this plot.
Yeah, so we'll find out on the next.
Yeah. Well, there's our theories.
So there are 30 to 40
basically,
episodes.
everything just kind of came down to I think it's going to be bad.
Is that it?
Well, we got 10 more seconds left if you want to vamp. You got like one more sentence you can say.